Good morning. My name is Mohasri Zain bin Mos, and my ID student is 2021203152.
Good morning, my name is Ishasha Nabilah binti Shuhaimi and my ID number is 2021650424.
Good morning. My name is Nur Farahani Zainati binti Zarul Akmal and my student number is 2021687822.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nova Radiana binti Omar. My student ID is 2021497052.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Jasmine Hadrana Muhammad Junaidi and my student ID is 2021455954. MCO, better known as Movement Counter Order, is an order and policy formed by the Malaysian government in a way to overcome the COVID-19 pandemic. At the end of 2019, our world had been rocked by the occurrence of a new epidemic disease known as coronavirus disease 2019. With the most famous nickname COVID-19 is a disease that can bring danger to health and which can bring problems to the human respiratory system. On January 25, 2020, the first COVID-19 cases were reported in Malaysia, and soon later prompting the World Health Organization WHO to designate COVID-19 a pandemic on March 12, 2020. This making the Malaysian government issue a Movement Control Order MCO on March 18, 2020. In order to counter the deadly virus, the MCO are mainly designed to control the movement of people in order to stop the spreading of virus and the increased number of cases, in which had making other impact to social such as in terms of economic, education and many more. The MCO was also established in an effort to encourage vaccination to address the problem soon later. MCO also include some standard SOP in controlling the movement of people to enable people to be able to live back as before.
As MCO are building, there is certain objective create in order to be achieved, which is the first one is the aim is to curb the spread of COVID-19 in Malaysia. Secondly is isolate and contain the source of coronavirus outbreaks, and the third one is to break the chain of transmission of coronavirus disease. And lastly, to prevent future upsurge through continuous monitoring and enforcement. In other words, MCO are created in purpose to control the spread. A variety of interventions were used. Authorities respond early in the second wave with MCO, a strict nationwide order limiting movement and border travel, as well as ongoing contact tracing and proactive surveillance among individuals, as well as isolate the source of COVID-19 outbreaks by locating all people who have close contact with a person who has been confirmed to have COVID-19, at least since to one side of the disease and ideally a few days before. Ideally, these contacts should be quarantined for at least 10 days. Of course, as the MCO is developed, there will be inevitably both good and bad impacts, and those before the MCO and after the MCO. Before the MCO emerged, one of the problems was faced the unpreparedness of the community to face the epidemic, causing a culture shock that caused panic buying, and in addition, before the MCO was established, the disease problem increased due to lack of control and guidance in overcoming and avoiding the disease. After MCO, among the problems is that MCO has an impact on our day-to-day life and way of life, which makes people not free to move and cause them to have to stay at home along the MCO route, which affects their source of livelihood and in addition cause their lifestyle to change and lead to individuals' problems. However, the MCO was not set up to give a bad impact because its main purpose was to control and overcome the problem of COVID-19 to enable the Malaysian society to live as before.
In order to make the policy movement control order being amplified, there are certain number of factors which is mainly will contribute into it, and one of the factors is the actors that involve. Without doubt, there is a Ministry of Home Affairs, or also known as MOHA, MOHA, one of the ministries that play big and the most important role in implementing of the policy. MOHA also knows because this ministry is a ministry that will play a major role in maintaining the security and the harmonious of the country. This ministry also better known for the main part playing and implemented by the Ministry of Home Affairs, which is the Security Division, where the Security Division is an important part of the 25 divisions that exist in the Ministry of Home Affairs. Since COVID-19 is indeed one of the problems that threat the state safety, thus making the MOHA to act. Next, we have Malaysian Army Force. The Malaysian Army Force, or best known as the ATM, is one of the two units in the Ministry of Defence of Malaysia, namely MINDEF, which have been given the responsibility in the evolving and implementing the current operation of MCO and the movement control order policy. The ATM, who have been appointed to serve Malaysia government, knows that while and after they implement with the government, they will obey and practice the core of value of the serve while doing their tasks. To achieve these goals such as will, hard work to improve serve quality, work toward people mindset, develop a nation, take full responsibility for work together to eliminate nation weakness and enemies, self-centers must be eliminated, observe religion teach, serve with counters and goodwill. We also have Royal Malaysia Police, or in short, PDRM. There are around 137,574 senior police officer, junior police officer, and including civil servant in the Royal Malaysia Police. This number and membership represent the PDRM wide variety of functions, responsibility and tasks from general task force, which is performing traditional police role and responsibility and has always been on the side of a people who need help and need it the most, to the general operator force that further perform in non-regular tasks and duties such as preventing illegal immigration, fighting against the terrorists such as communist activity back in time. The Ministry of Health Malaysia, MOH, The Ministry of Health Malaysia, MOH, was found to assist individuals in achievement and maintaining a level of healthy that allowed them to live a productive economic and social life. It can be accomplished by focusing on the least fortunate and offering infection appropriate and infection promotion, prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation service, especially during COVID-19. The Immigration Department of Malaysia, with most nickname JIM, also involved during the MCO. Apart from the ATM and PDRM, who are in charge of guiding, controlling, and monitoring the border area to control the movement to ensure the movement control order can be implemented smoothly, parties such as the Malaysia Immigration Department, JIM, also help to control the entrance of foreign and illegal immigration. Illegal immigration and the movement of people from abroad to the neighborhood country to avoid and increase the number of COVID-19 disease cases and to ensure the safety and the health of Malaysians. And finally, we have the Ministry of Energy, Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI. MOSTI is also a party that provides a lot of assistance in implementing the guarantee of the MCO, in which provide COVID-19 immunization program PIT to run smoothly and implement quickly to achieve the MCO objective.
As described earlier about who the parties and the parts of the units are that will play their roles, there will certainly be some programs or strategy implemented in launching the MCO. As an example of the ATM unit together with the Royal Malaysian Police PDRM in controlling national security at that time. ATM also controlled the country border so no one enrushed it. ATM always be ready to aid the agency and National Security Council during MCO. Furthermore, ATM also distributing aid horrifically due to COVID-19 outbreak. They also provide ATM hospital to public do a COVID-19 test that have selected, while PDRM will patrol certain area from the people gathering. PDRM also plays a role on cross-state movement permit. They carry out vaccination for PDRM members. They also help on vaccination program. PDRM also investigating the issue of fake certificates on vaccination status. There are also Ministry of Health (MOH) in which they implementation vaccination program for the people to have strong immune system to fight the virus. There are many type of vaccines, but the function still same to protect people. After got 2 doses of vaccine, they are also introduced a booster vaccines for the people. They also provided for children, which is big kids, to strengthen their immune system. MOH worked with MKN, MCMC, and Mampu to launch and MySejahtera apps. Next, which is Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI, the provisions of COVID-19 vaccine program to the people. They also developed COVID-19 immunization task force, which is CITF. Also, we have the National Security Council, MKN. MKN encouraged of using and the MySejahtera applications for the people in Malaysia. They provide a hotline for government agency. MKN also listed the informations and location hospital that handling suspected COVID-19 positive cases. And finally, Malaysia Immigration Department JIM. JIM responsible on controlling the states of the country borders. JIM also prevent the entry of foreigner and tourists into the country. JIM prevent Malaysian people from leaving Malaysia. They also work in combating illegal immigrations when they together implement of Opbenteng in the national task force NTF to control the borders. They are also involved in the foreign quarantine center at MAIPS. JIM was produced several innovation systems to make due to a new norm. The plan of CITF have to run smoothly, and also they also manage on not had service.
As the policy of movement control order is implemented, there will be a SWOT who also known as strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The first one is strengths who deciding the COVID-19 chain mainly to patients infected from an unknown contact. The number of positive cases does not indicate a decline. The MCO phase 2 has been continued until April 14, 2020. However, the number of positive cases during the MCO phase 2 shows some improvement. The next one is immunization program Malaysians that revealed by Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin that the immunity program will be carried out in the 3 different stages. The purpose of the initiatives is to help decide the chain of the virus and put an end to the COVID-19 pandemic. There are 3 stages vaccinations program. The third strength is direct assistance from the government. The cash or subsidies will continue to be directed specifically to the people and the affected business segment. The government will maintain policy and strategies to raise their income and buying power, as well as their well-being, particularly among urban and rural families. However, there are some weaknesses during the MCO was implemented. The first one is there are some individuals who are disobey the rules regarding to the movement control order. The Royal Malaysian Police and the Malaysian Armed Force have formed a partnership in order to carry out the roadblocks. There have been reports of people being arrested for activities such as praying on Fridays, going jogging, or just leaving their homes for no explicable reason. The second weaknesses is there are still a few people who doesn't want to take vaccination, who are also known as anti-vaccine. These anti-vaccine groups are willing to pay thousands of ringgit for fake vaccine certificates. It is concerning that a group that criticizes vaccinations has such a negative effect since it has the potential to influence the public opinion toward the injections. The reason for this is because those who are against vaccination are unaware of the need of being vaccinated in order to protect themselves and others around them. However, there are some few opportunities, such as MCO has provided new job opportunities to the people. The use of e-commerce also increased drastically. Lastly, the very beneficial is the national crime rate and the number of people killed or injured on the roads are both showing signs of improvement. As the opportunities exist, there also will be the threats. For example, more than 800,000 individuals have lost their job because of the business's operation will be limited. Next, there were businesses that had a tough time to make payment, and more shocking things prompted many employees resign. And education sector has to shut down, and the status of mental health among the people, which involving job loss and income, loss of dependence, household problem, and stress while working from home also increased.
The MCO policy is educated for our nation. When adopting the policy, they are non-class certain benefits and drawbacks. Both the socials and the economic well-being have been touched by MCO. Government should take certain steps because there are a number of issues. For instance, on June 1st, 2021, the government will continue to implement NRP National Recovery Plan. The government must issue clear directive, standards operating procedures, and regulations on the lockdown measures in order to prevent confusions and panic among the populace. 2. People who are already being severely impacted by the COVID-19 epidemic should not be forced to carry on extra hardships as a result of the heavier fines, since it purports to act as a warning, and the government should fine the people who spread fake news about COVID-19 and vaccines. And finally, people may educate themselves in order to better their employment prospect and reduce their rely on the supports provided by the government. Other than that, the government should not give limitations about the economic package.
In conclusion, we can see that the MCO is a policy measure and strategy established to control and overcome the problem of COVID-19. But through the implementation of this policy has also caused various problems and effects on the social life of society and take time to restore community life to origin. Thus, we can learn that human being needs to be prepared and always need to be aware that our health is very important, and if we do not try and overcome the problem, it can affect ourselves.